Hello everyone, this is Stephen Balch, your instructor for Legal Environment of Business at Ozarka College. Today what I thought I'd do is give you a little bit of feedback on the chapters 18 and 19 activities that I finished grading this morning. And then I also plan to go over the chapters 20 through 22 activities with you and tell you what you'll be learning about in those chapters and when those activities are due. All right. So the first thing is, like I said, I did finish grading the chapters 18 and 19 activities this morning. They were due last night, and I had graded some last week that some of you turned in a little bit early, but I finished grading those this morning. And so if you haven't looked at your grades for those activities, go ahead and do that as soon as you can, and let me know if you have any questions at all. Most of you did well on those activities. There were a couple of things that I'll point out here in just a few minutes that I'd like you to pay attention to for the remaining assignments. But overall, most of you did well on those chapters 18 and 19 activities. The discussion that we had that dealt with warranted versus non-warranted products, I thought that went very well, and I really appreciate everyone's contribution on the discussion, so keep up the good work on that. Now, on both the assignment and the discussion, there are a couple of you in the class who are relying too much on AI and similar online tools to create the wording for your answers on the assignment and the wording for your responses on the discussion. Most of you are doing fine. Most of you are putting the information into your own words, but there are a couple of you who are relying way too much on AI. And just keep in mind that as part of my policy in my syllabus, you can use AI to learn more about the concepts presented in the class. That's fine. But when you're completing your assignments and your discussions and all the other activities for the class, you need to still put the information into your own words. Okay? So, even if you look at some, responses that AI gave you, you still need to take that information and put it into your own words. I think some of you are just relying too much on the AI and other online tools. The other thing to keep in mind, and this is included in the assignment instructions and also in the discussion instructions, is that if you include any information from an outside source, in other words, other than the textbook or other assigned resources for those particular chapters, if you include anything else, you in addition to putting it into your own words, which is also something I just talked about, but also you need to properly cite any source information that you use beyond the assigned resources. So, for example, if you use an AI tool to generate an answer, it's fine to look at that and use that information to learn more about that topic or the subject matter, but you still need to put the information in your own words, and then also properly cite any information that's not included in the assigned resources. Okay? So, like I said, most of you are doing that just fine, but there are a couple of you that need to remember that for the remaining work this semester. Okay? If you have any questions about that, just let me know. And let's see. The other thing is the chapter test. Most of you did well on that. But like I always remind you, you can take those chapter tests as many times as you want to up until the due date, and your highest grade is automatically recorded. I know most of you only took the test once, which is fine, but just as a reminder, you can, if you want to get a better grade, you can retake those tests as many times as you want to up until the due date, and that highest grade is recorded. All right, so That is kind of the feedback on chapters 18 and 19. Now let's look at what we've got coming up due for our next set of activities. So if we go to the activities page in MyOzarka, right now we are on the beginning of week 10 of the semester. And we just had work due last night, which was the first day of this week. And we don't have anything else due this week, but we do have work due the middle of next week. So even though there's no other work due this week, you should be working on the chapters 20 through 22 activities, which are due by Wednesday, October 29th, which is Wednesday of next week. So you've got just a little over a week to be working on those activities and getting those submitted. So you've got the chapters 20 through 22 assignment and test and discussion all due by Wednesday, October 29th. Now, let me kind of very briefly tell you what you're going to be learning about in each of those chapters. In chapter 20, that is going to cover the nature of negotiable instruments. And so you'll learn about what a negotiable instrument is, and like a check or a bond, and you'll learn about the fact that negotiable instruments are simply financial documents which are written in a specific way where they can be transferred from one person to another, and they're basically used as kind of like a substitute for money or as a way to provide credit. Okay, and so in addition to that, in chapter 20, you'll also learn about the parties involved in negotiable instruments and how negotiable instruments can be negotiated and assigned, okay, or transferred. All right, and then in chapter 21, you'll learn about the requirements that must be met to make financial instruments negotiable or transferable. Okay, and then in chapter 22, you'll learn about the two widely used types of negotiable instruments, which are notes and drafts. Okay, and then also in chapter 22, you'll learn about the various types of notes and drafts, and you'll learn about checks, which are a type of draft. Okay, so that's basically what you'll be learning about in chapters 20 through 22. And of course, negotiable instruments are important to businesses because obviously money is transferred using negotiable instruments all the time in business. And it's also important as an individual because you also use negotiable instruments on a personal level when you do financial transactions as well. So you'll kind of hit the business aspect and the personal aspect of negotiable instruments in chapters 20 through 22. So be working on those activities. Remember to use your own words when completing the activities for the class. Don't rely too much on AI. Just kind of keep that in mind. Like I said, most of you are doing fine on that. But just let me know if you have questions. Remember all the resources you have available. You have your textbook, you have your PowerPoint slides on the assignment page, you have the videos that I've linked on the assignment page. So make sure you're using those resources effectively. And that's all I have for you for today. So enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. And I will talk to you again sometime later next week. Thank you.